I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all the time, anytime comic show where I give you your fix, everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we're taking a closer look at Generations Phoenix and Jean Grey issue number 1. Another time and space bending adventure that sees a newer version of a hero team up with their older counterpart. So with that, let's hop on in. Alright, so much like the Hulk comic from last week, the young time-displaced Jean Grey ends up waking up somewhere unfamiliar to her, somewhere where she wasn't before, and she has no idea how or why she's there. At first, Jean doesn't want to tap into her psychic powers, afraid that she might be on some sort of living alien planet, and that if she's not careful, it could give away her position to any enemies that might be nearby. It's because of that she ends up more or less stumbling onto a beach filled with beautiful people, as well as, and wait for it, an older version of herself at a time when Jean Grey had fused with the Phoenix, but before she had completely lost her mind and gone crazy. This is a pretty huge meeting for young Jean Grey, because if you've been reading her solo series, it's all been built around the fear of the Phoenix Force coming once again to claim her. It's for all these reasons and more, young Jean is a little scared when Phoenix Jean ends up using her amazing powers to pick her out, even though she was trying to appear invisible to everyone else using her psychic powers. Phoenix Jean seems alright, she's made peace with her new amazing abilities, and time-displaced Jean figures maybe she can use this opportunity to get to know the enemy, the Phoenix, firsthand. Only Phoenix Jean seems to do everything in her power to dodge all of young Jean's questions. She just wants to go to lunch, wants to go hang out at the club. Also, unlike the Hulk issue from before that, made it a little hard to discern whether or not we were in an alternate universe or back in time, this Jean Grey story really puts down its foot and says, yes, this is a time-hopping adventure, and we know that because this takes place during one of those odd moments in time when Jean assumed all of her friends in the X-Men were dead. Young Jean has to stop herself from spilling the beans to her older counterpart about what's going to go down in the future, and also has to keep it to herself that Mastermind is stalking her currently. Eventually, Phoenix Jean gets tired of being asked so many questions and decides to take her younger counterpart up into space to see the full breadth of the powers the Phoenix Force possesses. And I mean, really, what better way to show how much of a powerful cosmic entity you are than by going toe-to-toe with none other than Galactus, the Eater of Worlds, and his herald Terrax the Tamer. Phoenix Jean says that the planet that Galactus is currently trying to make a meal of is under her protection and that he should go elsewhere. Obviously, the embodiment of the power cosmic doesn't like being told what to do, but even he knows the Phoenix is not something to be trifled with lightly. So instead, Galactus tries to get a little creative by siphoning off as much power from the Phoenix as possible. Young Jean's afraid that her older counterpart might lose this fight, and in doing so, end up wrecking all of history. And in doing so, to save herself and to save history, young Jean taps into her own psychic power and brings out abilities that even she didn't think she was able of pulling off at her current age and power level, but she does anyway. With Galactus routed for the moment being, young Jean thinks to herself that maybe she should take this opportunity to tell her older counterpart about all the horrible things that are going to be happening to her soon. What with Mastermind, the Hellfire Club, the deaths, the betrayals, but at the same time, this isn't her first rodeo dealing with the implications of time travel, and just to fully enforce what a serious moment this is, Uatu the Watcher shows up to warn young Jean that what she chooses to do right now could have terrible butterfly effects all across time and space, even if she really wants to save her own skin from a dark future with the Phoenix. In the end, though, young Jean makes the right decision and opts to leave the future a mystery to her older self, before again disappearing like the Hulk did in his story. So that was Generations, the Phoenix Jean Grey issue number 1. And much like the Hulk story that preceded it, it didn't have much of a beginning, it just kind of drops you in the middle and hopes that you'll be able to play catch-up. Now that being said, it was a lot easier to play catch-up with this story than it was the Hulk one. Cullen Bunn does a really good job telling us where we are in time in the Marvel Universe and the severity of the meeting between these two characters at this moment in time. Also, while I haven't been reading the Jean Grey solo book, people have described it to me, and this does feel like a very natural, organic extension of the story that's being told in that book currently, with Jean trying to fight her future as the Phoenix. It seems moving forward, all these generation books aren't actually going to be related, and they're going to be more a la carte, which isn't necessarily a bad thing from a consumer standpoint. If you like Jean Grey, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with this issue. Overall, I'd feel comfortable giving it a 7.5 out of 10. So that's another Generations book, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, why not check out some of these other videos I've worked on. Then you can follow me on social media at Cape Joel. And if you're looking for a great deal on comic book trades and to support the channel at the same time, please use my book depository link down in the description the next time you're in the market. Until next time, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching.